Hello everyone and welcome back to another edition of West Ham Fan TV's Midweek Musings, the interactive show where I pit you 3 questions and 3 subjects to talk about in the week. Now, I did pit these questions a little while ago and we didn't get a chance to record these. I'll let you know that a little bit. I'll let you know why a little bit later. But look, some of the questions, they're not irrelevant, but some of them you've got to take into account that some of the answers may have had games go on since then. I think I've done this just before the Southampton game. So let's pit right into the questions. Number 1, and when I say Carvalho, it could be anybody. Number 1, whose place could Carvalho take if his transfer is completed? Now, since I've tweeted out this, obviously, we've gone a bit cold on that. Transfer deadline day is today. So who knows what might happen. We've just looked like we're selling Diafra Sakho and then he's gone to France for a medical. David Gold just tweeted that he's not for sale at any price, but you never know what might happen with West Ham. Whose place would he take? Now, for me, there's only one man's place he can take, and that is we've got 2 very good centre midfielders in Cheick Kouyaté and Obiang. The way we set up is very defensive. It's probably not the best way to set up, to be quite honest. We're still leaking goals, and we need an enforcer. We need someone in there who could get the ball and play with it, to be quite honest with you. That's where we lack a little bit. I think that's where Obiang comes in, and he's quite good at that's getting the ball and playing with it and you know, shifting it onto someone else who can play. We're having a little bit of trouble with that in a minute. At the moment, as I speak now, the midfield partnership has been Rice and Noble. Now, Noble, for me, and this is not no diss on Noble, he's just getting a little bit old now. His legs are going a little bit. Rice is inexperienced. We see that against Newcastle when he lost the ball and didn't pick it back up, and it cost us a goal. So we need someone in there, the enforcer, someone to get hold of the ball, someone to conduct his business in front of that back four and let the others just... someone that good that he can cover the whole of the ground. At the moment, we haven't got that one person that is that good enough that they can cover the whole of that back four on their own. So that's why we play 2 central midfielders, defensive midfielders, which leaves us a little bit short going forward, and that's why we don't... this is my opinion. That's why we don't free-flow in attack as much as we did before. So it's Mark Noble for me. Let's see what you guys had to say. At Luke Malden says, Cheick is the answer to our centre-back problems and is a great sweeper. He's not a great passer in the middle, so his place should be taken. At Ricky Gavin says, been saying this all along, Cheick is in the back 3, Obiang and Carvalho in the middle, Lanzini and Arnie in Hazard and Pedro roles Chelsea had last season. At Ricky Gavin says, oh no, sorry, that's the same person. At PBM 1968 says, I think it's more likely to be Noble, as Obiang, Sunday apart, has been more consistent in the City midfield roles. At Steve 6035089 says Noble, and he would be a significant upgrade. At Billy WHU, Come On Your Iron says, would drop Noble and Kouyaté and have Rice and a big man in there. That's interesting. I would just play him on his own personally, but there you go. At random O Gamer WHU says, hate to say it, but Noble, true veteran, but needs to have an impact role from now on. Kouyaté with the engine to go forward. Carvalho to sit deep and dictate the play. Marcus Gray says, Noble, question mark. And then Darren Jenkins replied with that, with Noble, exclamation mark. So he's made up his mind. At Jack Chatwin says, can see Noble being benched and Kouyaté being sold. At Lewis A says, sadly, I think Noble. Obiang was poor against Manchester United, but he's still a better midfielder now. I'll take a couple more. Mark Sherburn says, difficult one. Cheick, Pedro and Noble all fighting for the second defensive midfield. If we get Carvalho, difficult choice, but Noble initially. And GH90WHU, my friend Greg Hobbs says, a lot of people slating Noble here, thinking some games he offers heart and passion. Good debate, this one. Kouyaté will not play centre-back. So there you go. Most of you saying Noble, but a few of you saying it should be Cheick. A few of you saying it should be both Obiang, Cheick and Noble, and playing alongside Rice. Good debate there. Number 2. Reports that there was no barriers erected to Westfield for athletics fans for the World Championships. Are we being treated unfairly? Now, if you haven't seen this in the news, it was the fact that the athletics fans could freely walk around Westfield without them stupid big barriers that they put up before and after West Ham games. They could just wander in and out. Now, I know what you're going to say. Football fans have a history of violence. Now, that's fair enough to say, and the amount of people going in and out is maybe for after a game could be a little bit dangerous and could be a little bit risky. So I can understand what happened after. For the life of me, I don't understand what they had before. Somebody said there was a fight there before next to the cow, but to shut off the whole of Westfield and make everyone walk round, do you know what? I just think it's ridiculous. It just adds 10, 15 minutes to everyone's walk. You're already annoyed when you get there. You've got to walk a long way anyway. I don't understand it. What I really don't understand is why the stations are that side. But anyway, let's get into your replies. At Connor, WHUFC says, athletics fans have no prevalence of violence. If we get cheated or the refs shit, etc., everyone is very angry and it kicks off a lot of football. Whereas I've never seen an athletics fan kick off because Bolt full started, etc. At Beck's Price 24 says, it's not just that. There's never a big as a number of athletic spectators leaving the stadium at once than there is our football fans. I understand the leaving, Bex. It's the before that I really don't understand, as everyone just staggers in. At PBM 1968, yes we are, but there's an incorrect stigma attached to football fans, which I can't see going away soon. At Luke Malden says, yes, we need to own the stadium and take control. Even if we did own a stadium, Luke, I'm not sure we'll be able to convince Westfield to let us walk through there. I don't think that would belong to us, unless they've got some more money that they want to invest into a shopping centre. They don't invest it into a football club, so I doubt that. At Lewis A says, don't think it's just us. I think all football fans have a stigma, and the hooliganism stigma hasn't gone. Westfield being cautious. At Lauren Johnson 16 says, athletics fans and football fans are completely different. I completely agree with having the barriers. It's for our safety. At Ricky Bobby Martin Hickey 9 says, no Northern away fans are feral and we need to protect our shopping centres. You said it, mate, not me. At Martin Farrow says, completely different type of spectator. Really don't understand why it's a problem walking around because I'm lazy. At Lauren Johnson again, no, we've had one from her. At Ian Sloan says, Andy Carroll unplayable on his day. I don't know what the fuck that means. At Stan WHU1 says, I get the feeling no one wants us there. The London Stadium, Westfield, and probably most of our fans, which I believe is true. I don't think we're truly welcome there. At Chris Shepherd, Chris WHU62 says, I object to being told where I can and cannot go. Walk into Westfield, then go through John Lewis. I would if I used that route. At Hammer Social says, why should athletic supporters be any different to football supporters? They should both be treated the same. Joe Kuzel says, don't give them your money. Spend it at the True Rib Club or the boats. Run by West Ham fans, for West Ham fans. No need to use Westfield. I barely shop in Westfield there, Joe, but I certainly do use the boats, and I certainly will be using the True Rib Club next season. Well, this season, actually. We just haven't been there yet. At Gus Salmon says, before the game, they should be open. People come at different times. They want our money afterwards. I can see why. 60k fans at once. And one more from Ian L80S says, health and safety plays a big part in this. Okay, before games, maybe have it open, but after no, they're also worried about trouble. So maybe I was being a bit harsh. Maybe I'm being a bit lazy, and maybe I'm being a bit selfish by saying that. But I honestly find it a bit of an insult that they brand everyone with the same brush. But, you know, who knows? Number 3. With the same mistakes being repeated after the defeat at the weekend, I believe that was the Manchester United defeat, but we can fast forward that to the Newcastle and not so much the Southampton, but the Newcastle game. Certainly, was Nicky right to question Bilic's pedigree on PMP? Now, if you didn't see post-match pint, I questioned Bilic after the first game. A lot of people are, you know, a lot of people were saying to me, you know, you can't judge him after 3 away games. It's not 3 away games. Our form has been pretty poor, and we haven't had a consistent run of form since the last 3 games at the Boleyn, probably. The Swansea and Stoke games were poor. The Man United game was an exception, of course, but the Swansea and Stoke games were poor, and we couldn't get a good run last season, apart from scrapes against Sunderland, a decent win in the Sunderland-Swansea, I think was another one we scraped. Hull we scraped. Bournemouth we scraped. Obviously a decent result against Tottenham, but you can argue 1-0 is a scrape as well. A decent performance in the League Cup against Chelsea last year, and total capitulation everywhere else. It was absolutely awful. I think the record is saying like 5 in 24 games that he's won in the Premier League. That's not good enough for a Premier League manager, in my opinion. I'm not going to hassle the man. I'm not going to sit here saying, going Arsenal fan TV on him and saying, oh, Bilic out, and all this nonsense. But what I will say is, if I don't see an improvement over the next few games of tactics and tactical awareness, really doing his homework to see how to beat these sides, which I don't think he does do properly. As you looked at last week at Newcastle, Rafa Benitez had his tactics spot on. They wanted to press us high because they know we make mistakes. So if I don't see a tactical, not genius, but at least a bit of tactical awareness, whether they work or not is a different story. I really do think he's got to go, and I'd like to see a tactically inept manager, a tactically good manager anyway, come in and take his place and see what we can do with the players we've got, because we've got some fantastic players, and just see how far we can go under them. Let's have a look at your replies. At SWHU says, I'll start to question if we get to Spurs at home and we're still in the same position. We should be getting results from these next 4 games. I think the next 4 games, 2 of them have gone, and we lost. At PBM 1968, yes, players don't look match fit and capitulated yet again. What disappointed more, only 4 players at the end came over to thank the fans. At Gary Mills, he says, yes, nothing wrong with questioning Slav's tactics. We all want him to succeed, but agree with Nicky. We seem to be making the same mistakes regularly. At Josh Wilkie says, when the same problems occur repeatedly, of course, we have the right to question. At Macca 11, Paul says, I love Slav. His passion is unreal, but we have to start looking at the way we play 75% of the time, which frankly just isn't good enough. At Jamie Norwood says, I think everyone has overreacted a bit to the Man United result. Man United will do that to a lot of teams this season. Judge versus Saints and Newcastle. Stan WHU1 says, something fundamentally wrong with our approach to certain teams, when even with 4 very capable players, very capable players, we still look no different. At Billy WHU, come on you iron, says, yes, totally, he has to sort out his defence and tactics, otherwise nothing has changed and he's a dead man walking. 9 games and counting, which I think 3 of them have already gone. Yes, he set up for a draw, says Creekmouth. Left Hernandez isolating the defensively all at sea. We was very good against Saints, I must admit, like the spirit to get back against Saints, and Hernandez obviously got a little bit of service in the second half. But against Newcastle, we was dead in the water. It was awful. One of the worst, probably West Ham displays I've ever seen. Hammer Social says it's a top team in Man United, but if we have a similar season to last season, Bilic will not be getting a new contract. Lewis A says, I think so. Not knee-jerk, but these mistakes were being made at the end of the bowling season. It's a worry. I think the board have to give him till Christmas. At Mark Sherburn says, you have to look how we can see goals last year and how we started off this season. Not very good. At Greg Hobbs says, well played. We played a well-improved Man United side. Did roll over a bit though. Let's see what happens in the next 4 games. Beat the teams around us. We'll be okay. At Patrick J 1976, absolutely makes the same mistakes over and over again. Take Masuaku for instance, a fantastic win back, awful left back, 4th of disaster. I'm going to take 2 more on this because my voice is going. At Royston Hammer 73, maybe the players should start pre-season training a bit earlier, and pre-season opposition may need to improve. And Andy in Exile says, totally, count the amount of times we collapsed defensively over the last 2 seasons. Tactically, he is terrible in these games. Do you know what? I'm going to take one more. Sod it. That's 18 Flick 77 says, I want to get rid of that underbelly tag. If you're on a losing streak, then you want your next game against us. BILIC needs to sort it. Thank you so much for sending in your answers. There will be another one this week. I promise. I'm going to tweet it out right after this. It's not good at West Ham at the moment, but as always, we'll be back with a load of content. We've got the international break as we come up. There is still shows coming out during this week, so make sure you subscribe and press that little bell button down there. You can follow us on Twitter at West Ham Fan TV, Facebook.com/West Ham Fan TV, Snapchat, Instagram, all at West Ham Fan TV. Now on Volley, which is like an Instagram / Twitter for just football. So follow us at West Ham Fan TV on Volley. Download the app. It's a great little app. We like to use that. You can put little polls on there, pictures, you know, there's all sorts of fun stuff going on there. So make sure you download that. One thing left to say, boys, until next time, come on you irons.